What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy GQ, and I'm joined by Boulevard once again.
Boulevard, right here. That's me.
Once again, we are here to give you guys another great episode of Live from the Bench.
It's the show. I'm on the bench. I'm this guy. Boulevard.
Yeah, it looks exciting. It's going to be exciting. Listen, the NFL owners got together, and they were meeting, and they were discussing something that a lot of people, this is probably going to be one of those things that's like, half people are like really for it, half people aren't. They're discussing playoff seeding solely based on record, like divisional records and divisional standings. Absolutely jack donkeys, probably just bragging rights for that. I want to get your opinion on this, Boulevard, because I know what my opinion is. I want to get yours. I'll give mine too. I want to get yours before we really get into it. I want to get your opinion on it. I mean, how do you feel about this whole playoff seeding being based on record?
I am 100% in favor of it. It is only good for the game. I mean, the only thing winning a division should give you is a spot. It shouldn't give me. If you fuck around, and you get like the Vikings and Lions this year, where they're just, what were they? 1 and 2, 1 and 3 seeds, whatever. I mean, they would be. I wonder. I mean, one would be the Lions, and the Vikings would have got the wild card. Okay, in this situation, they would have been 1 and 2, 1 seed and 2 seed. Eagles, I believe, would have been the 3 seed in this case. And a team that would win their division with a record like 8 and 9, 9 and 8, something like that, compared to a team that finishes 10 and 7, they get pushed down to where they belong, their actual spot where they finished. I don't see how it can be bad. It's like you win your division, nuts to you. You get a playoff spot. You shouldn't get anything more than that. You shouldn't get the 4 seed because you won the division, the worst division in the conference, and you barely won it. So the reward for that should only be a playoff spot. That makes you about as good as, say, tournament-wise, say like a 15 seed. And just in the NFL number, you're the 7th seed. You're essentially like the seventh best team record-wise. So. The best should be in the playoffs. The best team should be in the playoffs. I don't know if that's the point I'm trying to make.
I agree. I agree, but I also think that the NFL should do things a little different too. I feel like I'm the fan of just changing everything. 100% changing everything. I feel like if we're looking at reseeding, I think we should also look at like geographically changing divisions. I feel like divisions should solely your division should make sense. Like, for example, the NFC East should not include the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
So I feel like they should. It's a lot of things I feel like they should be reshaped. I'm 100% all for your record deciding your playoff seeding. Right. Now, my only thing that I disagree with Boulevard is I think that if you have a division where there's a team that hasn't cracked 10 wins, but there is a team that did crack 10 wins and they didn't make it because they were third in their division, but they got 10 wins, I think the division could solely, like, if your record's bad, if your dog crap, for example, like the AFC West. Well, I think the Broncos did make it as well. But like when things like that happen, I feel as though those teams should make the playoffs. Nobody else Like there's a team that's 9-7, but and win their division. I don't think that should get them a playoff spot. If like another division has a team with 11 wins and they didn't get in, I don't think they should I don't think they should be punished. Because I remember it was a couple years ago, the Patriots, they were 10-6, and the Colts were like 9-7. The Patriots missed the playoffs, and I'm not a fan of the playoffs. I was excited to see the Patriots not go to play. But when the Colts were like 9-7 and they got into the playoffs because they won their division, but the Patriots didn't, even though they were 10-6, I think that stuff should never be a case. Like, there should be a point where, like, if nobody in your division, like no team in your division cracks 10 wins, I don't think they should be able to make it. But if you wanna reward a team for winning their division, then you have to look at the possibility of expanding how many teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think you have to expand it because if you're gonna, because I do believe that at least one team from each division should go win. But if your team's 9-7, 9-8, you should have the last seed because you're probably the worst team in the conference, or like the worst winning team.
Worst team with a winning record, yeah.
Yeah. So they should get in, but you should be like that 7 or 8 spot. Probably 8.
Yeah. I mean, and there was another thing they were discussing, like when you get to the second round, divisional round, they were discussing the possibility of reseeding teams. Like, again, I'm all for that myself.
I'm all for it. I'm confused how that will work though. Like, let's say if like the Eagles in like the wild card, the Eagles are like number 2, and then in the divisional round, like how would you go about reseeding? Would they?
Well, it probably wouldn't even be that much of a change, realistically. I mean, no matter who wins, you're still going to rank them the same way.
Yeah.
It's like if the 7 seed wins and advances, beats the 2 seed, and the 3 seed advances, the 3 seed's going to be still seen as just the second best team.
Yeah.
So I mean, the numbers at that point are just for numbers' sake.
Yeah.
There's that game, then there's one more game, then there's the championship. The numbers really only apply to the first round.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like it'll make much difference at all. But it sounds good.
I think I got an idea how that could play out, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say, for example, like you have a team that won their division and they're 9-7, 9-8, but you have like the Denver Broncos, they were 3rd in their division, they got in at 10-7. I can understand like if the Broncos won and they're taking on that 9-7 team that won their division, but Denver was like 3rd in their division. I can understand if you're like, okay, Denver's going to be the home team because they had a better record. I could see how that would make a lot of sense. Like, because I feel like if you're going to do that, I feel like you winning your division should only be for bragging rights. You're the best in your division. That's it. Like, once you get into the playoffs, that shit means absolutely nothing. You don't get home field against anybody, even if you're playing the second team in another division. You still are going to be bottom of the barrel. You're not hosting dog shit unless your record is better than you. That's what I think should happen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not against that. I'm open to possibilities across the board. Anything that's better for the game that makes every game matter more.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we get the load management that's plaguing other leagues.
Load.
Low. You said low. All right. Like, I have weird ideas I come across here looking around. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I have some weird things, weird thought that came up. I had to write it down immediately. It was just
go for it. The
whole concept of changing things, getting online. Like I said, I think that the league should reshuffle divisions based on geographic, like your location. Like if you're an NFC West team, you should be a team in the West. If you're a South team, you should be in the South. Like the Indianapolis Colts are more north than the Eagles, but somehow the Indianapolis Colts are AFC South.
Mm-hmm.
That's confusing to me.
It's always been confusing.
So I think
when there were what was it? Two conferences? Two divisions once upon a time?
Yeah.
East and West, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, East and West. Even then it didn't make sense. Because Dallas was still East. So
yeah. So I think they should rework that. That's something that should be reworked as well.
I believe at one point the Colts were in the AFC West. I believe so. I can't really remember though, but I believe I saw that somewhere or heard that somewhere.
So I think that should be reworked. But something I know it's like a long shot for this to even happen. It's probably if somebody put it on the floor, it would probably be like ripped up. Everybody would just be like, they bang the hammer for. It's like everybody's gonna vote no on this. But I think this is just the fantasy in me, the Madden in me, just that fan of football sports. I think every 10 years the NFL should institute a fantasy draft. Not necessarily a fantasy draft because it's not going to be fantasy at this point. But I think it should just be an all-out free-for-all draft of the players. Just everybody, every 10 years, contracts and caps are like reset. All the players go into a pool and they just have a massive draft of 54 rounds and they just select players. I think, and the reason why I think this will be a brilliant idea, because just imagine how much TV money the NFL would make if they do a full week of drafting players. Like you get the opportunity of a team getting, like, let's say the Browns. This like a draft like this, something like that would make the Cleveland Browns competitive. It's like a complete reset because now you really have to grade people on their ability to evaluate talent. And it's like, all right, let's say now you got to really look at teams who, like, let's say some teams are like, maybe we should have drafted Purdy earlier. Now Purdy, instead of Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant, he's like a top 20 draft pick. So I think that would make it exciting. I know it'll never happen, but it's just
insane. You're insane. That would be total anarchy.
It would be.
People would have to move. Like people would have to
the NFL paying for it.
Uproot their entire lives every couple of years, every decade.
But that's what I'm saying. In 10 years, because like most careers last about 10 years. So it would make some semblance of it. Like I feel like it could work. Or
taxes and schools.
Or I think this would. Or here's an option.
Is GQ a monster? Let us know in the comments.
Here's another idea. If you don't want to do your full team, you have 10 players that you mark as you get 10 players that you're able to mark on your team that they're considered protected. They can't enter this pool of players. They don't enter the pool. You get 10 players. I think that would be very exciting, and you really get to reshuffle the game. You make more teams have the ability to be more competitive. I don't know, maybe. But then again, the Jets are going to Jets, the Browns are going to Browns, so they'll probably not be getting different. They'll probably take Daniel Jones.
To me, that's reason enough to not do that insanity. Just because, you're uprooting their lives, and for at least about 100 of those people, you're putting them in terrible situations. Well, more than that, because you got the Jets, you got the Browns, you got a few franchises that are just stupidly run by stupids.
I also think the NFL should institute a clause or rule that if a team is not productive after a certain amount of time, owners have to sell their team. If they cannot produce a productive organization, they had to be. You gotta put the team up for sale. Because if that was the case, the Browns, there's a lot of teams that would.
These are human beings, GQ. These are human beings. You can't do that to people.
They're millionaires.
You can't do that to people.
They're millionaires. Some of them are billionaires. I give no shits whatsoever. Like if you're making like the money that y'all making, you good, fine. Uprooting who lives. I don't give a shit.
Okay, so what about say like the gardeners? I mean the whatever you call it, the field crew, the people who keep the field intact. What do you do with them? Do
they work for the organization. Those people work for the organization. Like, if
so do you change the grass when you change teams? Then no,
that belongs to the organization. The players are not property. They are independent contractors.
But they're not.
They're not employees of the team. They're
union workers. Oh my God, this is going to a really dark place now. Let me hit this right quick.
Listen, it's fun. It's a fun topic. I feel like it would be very fun to watch. The NFL can probably make a lot of money doing a whole draft a whole week.
All right. Well, since we got to throwing out all sorts of weird ideas. Here's one: an NFL draft lottery. This also falls into your 8 teams per playoffs, which I think I heard you say. Whether people are even going to watch this damn episode. Anyway, your 8 teams per league, per conference idea, 16 teams in the playoffs, 16 teams out of the playoffs. Those teams that don't make the playoffs go into a draft lottery. Instead of just, bad organizations consistently wasting good talent or drafting quarterbacks and throwing away their entire careers. Shit like that. That won't be as consistent.
Yeah, like drafting 2 quarterbacks in the same draft.
Mm-hmm. Like that, yeah, stupid shit like that. Or even just doing it per round. Any of that. I don't know. Just ideas. Like a draft lottery. Ideas.
I would love the idea of a draft lottery. I think a draft lottery is fun as hell. And then the NFL, just like like I said in a previous video, every semblance of sports is rigged in some way. And it's time for the NFL to admit that they're a rigged organization. Or a draft lottery in it. I'm all for it. And then again, the NBA used the draft lottery as a way to make money. That is something that's going to get views. Do it.
These things aren't rigged. Rigged is the wrong word. They're manipulated. Things are manipulated. Chairs are moved into the right spot, so when you turn around, you trip over the chair. Or, not literally, of course. But shit along that things happen. Things are, referees play a big part in the on-court. Things that happen. Sometimes you think you see something and it ain't called. You're right. You're probably right. You saw that. But it ain't called because it might slow the game down. It might fuck up momentum, whatever reason, what have you. I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about.
I think that's rigged. I think manipulation is just a different way of saying rigged.
Yes, exactly. But they're not. It's set up so certain things will happen, give you things to talk about. Say a player on the Indiana Fever pushes a player on the Chicago Sky, and it might be a little ticky-tack, little aggressive, yeah. And instead of just letting it slide, they call it a flagrant. Or maybe it was a flagrant. Now really up to me to decide. But things like that are happening so, first you can build a narrative, you can get a certain team to win, home team sometimes. You can look at Sacramento versus LA, shit like that, where the game is manipulated so certain teams win, certain teams advance. It's a better story. I'm pretty sure that happens across all sports. It's entertainment. It's just slightly less egregious about it than WWE or AEW or one of those companies.
Yeah. So why not do something weird to manipulate the ratings?
Because it's people's lives, man.
They will be
That's
fine.
why.
They will be fine. They are loaded. These individuals have money. They'll survive. They gotta listen. And that's why I say do it every 10 years, because
Let's say like you got 14, 12, 10 as kids. What are you going to do then?
if you've been in the NFL if you've been in the NFL long enough to have 10, 12, 14 kids, I'm pretty sure your kids are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Listen, for you to have that many kids, if that's the case, like for example, Antonio Cromartie had that many kids.
He said, for example, how many examples are there?
There's a couple. Antonio Cromartie had a whole lot of kids when he
I know.
When he was in the NFL. That means throughout his NFL career, there was more kids. Those kids will be fine if he was uprooted. Because, hey, look, speaking of kids, there's one. They uprooted his kids. I'm pretty sure one of his kids is old enough to be fine. They're going to be fine. They're millionaires. They're making bank. They can pay off their freaking kids. They can pay somebody to homeschool their kids. They'll be fine. I don't care about the kids. It ain't about them. It's not about them. This is the only time I'll ever say the kids don't matter in this. It's about the ratings. It's about the ratings. It's all that matters. If I got a job today, if I got a job that was going to pay me $500,000, I'm not gonna ask no questions. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I gotta uproot my kid's life. Fuck them kids. I'm gonna go get that cheddar bag. I mean, I'm gonna get the bag. And if that job is like, oh yeah, well, every year or every 2 years, I'm about to make a very crazy connection, and we're gonna talk about uprooting lives. They tell you every year we're gonna give you a new location. I gave the NFL 10 years. Every year we're gonna put you in a new location. Maybe it's every 2 years, but you're gonna be switching location. The NFL did it. I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool. Fuck uprooting lives, but guess what? Because people have been doing it their whole lives for like centuries. The U.S. military does it. People have families. They get stationed at a base for 1 to 2 years. Then guess what? You're going to be switching duty stations. You're going across the U.S. or you're going to Korea. Say goodbye to your family in Hawaii. You're going to Korea. They do it. So why can't fucking these people that do it then in the military is making like 50,000?
All right, well, you put it that way, I can't argue that.
They make it 50,000 a year when they uproot their lives. These motherfuckers making millions. They can tell their kids, listen, we got to move. We just got fantasy drafted. But Dad, it's okay. I'll buy you a brand new iPad. But I already got 7. It's all right. You can have an 8th one. They be all right. They be fine. If somebody was like, Boulevard, I'm gonna pay you $800,000 to go live in bumfuck Kentucky.
Be more specific. No, maybe. No.
You uprooting your life or no?
I need more information.
All right, how about you gonna live in a cabin on the lake in Patience, Colorado?
Hell no. No.
You're not moving to Patience, Colorado?
Fuck no.
Man, I bet Harry Vanderspiegel would love it if you lived there.
I don't know what that means. Oh, wait, yes, I do. I watch that show. Everybody watch that damn show. If they don't, they should be. Hey.
I'm sorry for my rant, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, I got another idea then. What if the NFL drafted fantasy style? The Eagles would have got the 32nd and the 33rd this year. The Browns would have got the 1st and the 64th, because I'm not counting the compensatories. They can just go back where they would have went anyway, as far as I'm concerned. About that? What you think about that?
So like a snake? Like the snake?
Yes.
Brand?
Yes.
That would be bad. I feel like that would be very bad.
All right.
I feel like no team. I feel like nobody would really sign up. nobody would go for that because it'll be very bad because then teams are like, oh yeah, you get the 32nd and the 33rd. I'm about to draft this guy and this guy. People will be pissed off. But I don't know. I feel like it would give some teams an unfair advantage because I think in that case the Eagles would have got Quinyon and Cooper. Well, I don't even know who had
Nothing would have changed. You mean?
Yeah, nothing would have changed, but I just feel like
Wait.
it takes the fun out of it.
I'm sorry, I was totally thrown off when you said that. I was out reading another story. But yeah, Eagles only got 32nd and 33rd this year. Yeah, you've done fantasy. Everybody plays fantasy football. We all know how the snake draft works. But would that work? Would that be fair to a team that sucks year after year after year, constantly making the wrong decisions and being rewarded by wasting the careers and primes of players that deserve better?
Well, in that case, since you say it like that, I think in that case, that ties into my whole thing is like if a team is just bad year after year and you're always picking that early, well, fuck you. You need to do better. Your whole staff need to be you need to change your whole staff. You just bad. You're a bad organization. Like the Cleveland Browns have been picking in like the top 16, maybe the top in the early 15 for like years now. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I think a better part of the past 20 years they've been picking that early.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I mean, I don't know the exact numbers offhand of the last really it's been like since they've come back as a franchise entirely. What was that, 99, 98? They were reborn in Cleveland.
Yeah, and I feel like at some point somebody's got to be like, all right, you're not doing it, Mr. Haslam. It's time to pass the buck. Either like when we was talking about that contingency plan, if like one of them died, I think at some point somebody's got to pass. I feel like they got to like pass the buck at some point. You can't do it like Jerry Jones. Like I think the only reason why I don't know, like it's already been talked about. The guy was probably old, senile, dumb as hell. Irsay, old, senile, dumb as hell. I feel like when people get to that point where they're that old and senile and want the power, like it's time to pass the buck because the organization's not going to progress further. I'm angry about it. I don't like it. I think at some point, but the whole snake draft, I don't know if it'll work.
Okay. Just ideas. We just throwing ideas at the wall.
It will be fun though, because I could get like if I had the 32nd and 33rd pick, I'm dropping that 32nd pick. I'm trading it away because I know exactly what I want to get. I maybe even get somebody later. Just imagine what you can get. Players.
I don't have the trade chart, the pick value chart, but yeah, I mean, I would imagine that's their first pick of the second round is a high value pick.
Yeah. I would drop my 32nd. I would drop 32nd because I know I'm still going to pick 33rd. No, the offers you about to get.
Right. But you don't, whatever, get into that whole 5th year option and all of that. But yeah, I get your gist.
Mm-hmm.
We are making good time. Okay, making enough time. I can throw an extra story in there.
Yeah.
Remember dumbass Rudy Gobert?
I do remember Rudy Gobert. I hate that.
Yeah, the dude who shut down the NBA by being a dipshit. That guy?
Yep.
Giant dipshit Rudy Gobert.
Did he do it again?
No, he didn't do that. I mean, it's all on your perspective whether you consider this worse or not, but he kicked the mother of his 1-year-old child and the child out of his house. Yeah.
Why?
It's all in your It don't say why. This perspective is just trying to make the woman the victim.
I understand.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right. He sent her. No, she wanted to move back to France, and he don't want her to move back to France, but he don't want her. Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, he a dickhead. He a dumbass.
Yeah, I mean, we know he a dickhead. You know he a dickhead? He named his kid Romeo. You know who named their kid Romeo? Dickheads.
Yeah, he a dickhead. Like,
Yeah, he a dickhead.
like for anything, like you're a millionaire. It's like this because this is my part where I feel like people are just 100% weird as shit. Like if you're a millionaire, like if I was a millionaire, my wife said, "Oh, I want to if I work, if I play, I'm a staff member for the New Orleans Saints," and my wife's like, "I want to move back to Jersey." I'm like, "All right, buy a house in Jersey, go back to Jersey, go live in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stay here during the season because that's what I would do." It makes sense. The whole keeping them there, I wouldn't do that. He an asshole for that. He can afford it. I know Rudy Gobert got a nice ass contract.
Right.
His contract.
Yeah.
So it ain't hurting him to let him move. He's just being selfish. He's being a selfish asshole. I understand the whole trying to make the whole victim thing, but he did wrong for that. I can't. There's no part of me that's going to support that. Like you don't kick your fucking family member. You don't kick nobody out the house. Not no your wife and kid, or your mother and your child and your kid. Especially the same kid that you missed the playoff game for and had me in here defending you, knowing I don't like you, Rudy.
Yeah, that's the kid. That's the fucking kid.
And I'm defending you. And you gonna kick that child? You missed the playoff game.
That's the kid.
Just for your kid to be birthed, you kick the kid out.
I forgot all about that nonsense.
You piece of shit. You a POS piece of donkey dog shit. No, he worse than a piece of donkey dog shit. He is Chip Kelly shit. That's how bad he is.
Ooh. Remember when we used to do sound effects? I'd have done a sound effect for that one. It's Chip Kelly. That's what was said alone in this show.
That's because the intern is on break. So, yeah, just know we're not going to have no intern. It's May. So, the interns are done with school for now.
Right.
Glad to get a new summer intern.
And to answer your question about his numbers, this season, 25-26, or next season, $35 million will be his salary.
And my wife can't live in France. Tripping.
Yeah, I think his wife will live fine in France.
And who Rudy Gobert?
Actually, should have been there aujourd'hui.
Wait, doesn't Rudy Gobert play for the Jazz?
No, he plays for the Timberwolves.
That's even worse. Why would she want to live in Minnesota?
No one wants to live in Minnesota. That's the point. Let her go.
That's horrible. Let her go. Jesus.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
let that lady go to France. She
okay, so let's go with that, right? If she lives in Minnesota, like that's just mean. Let that woman go back to France.
Yeah.
But what if he met her in Utah? It's still let her go back to fucking France. Like these are terrible choices. It's obvious as hell. Nobody wants to live in Utah. Nobody want to live in cold ass Minnesota. Let her ass go back to France.
She is torturing herself right now. Dealing with this man, bro. I tell you.
Just ignorant ass behaviors. I don't know.
Wait. What we got? What else we got?
Let me check the page. Pause it. All right. Okay, that was supposed to happen.
I couldn't stop it. I tried. It wouldn't let me stop it.
All right. Well, welcome back. We had to pause for station identification.
I couldn't stop it. That's why we need the intern.
Yeah, that's their job is to hit buttons, not ours.
Oh man, that was hilarious.
So yeah, Lego was trying to say when Caleb Williams was coming out last year, Obviously, he was meant to go. He was going to go to the Bears because Bears had the number one pick, but he didn't want to go to the Bears, and rightfully so. The Bears murder quarterbacks. They're terrible with quarterbacks. You go there, it's I'm gonna just say what his dad said. Chicago is the place where quarterbacks go to die, and it's a fact. It's a fact. It's a terrible, terrible fucking fact. What's that statistic? They've never had a 4,000-yard passer, never had a 30 touchdown passer. Yeah, that's the fact. I believe he's already like one of the top quarterbacks that's ever played for the team, and he's only played 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, I mean, he's already, fairly high up there. I don't know who the all-time quarterback is for Chicago. Jay Cutler, Jim McMahon. Insert some old-timey guy from the fucking Decatur Staleys or some shit.
Oh, shit.
I don't know. But yeah, he didn't want to go there. He was willing to go to the other league. What's that, UFL?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, take a year off and go to the UFL, and then just enter the league as a free agent. Which kids coming out, you can do that. You can absolutely fucking do that. Like, just keep that in mind. You don't want to go to that team. Don't go to that team. You can go to the UFL, then come back to the NFL the next year as a free agent to sign with whomever you fucking want.
I think that will be crazy as hell because I feel like remember what AJ McCarron did in the UF when he went to the USFL. Or was it the XFL? I don't remember. It's all the same.
Take your ass, take your name right out of that fucking draft. Go to UFL.
If Caleb Williams, with the star power that he had coming out of USC, he was to do that, that would immediately changed the framework of the UFL. That would have changed the framework. Like, I mean, you talking about really uplifting a league, he would have done that. They could have possibly been like going from, they would have definitely doubled their revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in my personal opinion. I feel like they would have doubled their revenue.
Well, they would have at least doubled the eyes on the product for damn sure. Immediately, TV ratings are going to skyrocket. So that's going to come in handy at the next meetings when you want to redo your contracts. And
the crazy thing is, when all the rumors came out about what he was demanding to come to a team, he probably would have got a more of a shot to that. Like, he probably could have got revenue share for the UFL. Like, they probably would have been more willing to give him something like that because of what he was bringing to the league.
I have a theory there. All of that bullshit about wanting his mom to come be a team counselor and having a spot on a damn roster for, what was it, his hairdresser, his barber or some shit. I think that shit just came out as an attempt to throw the Bears off. I'm looking back now, I was like, maybe he was just doing it to get them not to be interested. Because, again, Joe wants to go to the Bears.
Because it was out there. He had already clarified he didn't want to go to the Bears.
Yeah.
When it first came out that he was going to be picked, when they said the Bears were going to be the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember it was supposed to be the Texans. And he was okay with that. He was 100% down with being a Texan. But when the Texans lost, because I remember at some point he was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about not coming out this year."
Yeah. You know,
he said he wasn't going to come out.
Right.
So I think when it was looking like it was trending toward the Texans with Lovie Smith, or was it? Who was it? Was Lovie Smith? It was Lovie Smith. He was the head coach there. When it was trending toward Lovie Smith taking the Texans, he was all for it. Because, again, the Texans were like, if you break it down position by position, the Texans were a closer team towards success than the Bears were. And I still believe that is the case today. Like, I mean, I feel like looking at the Bears, like C.J. Stroud was the better. But it's weird. Obviously, you look at the product, look what they've done. The Texans have been a playoff team or a playoff caliber team the last 3 years or last 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. He probably was trying to push him off. What he should have done, what Caleb Williams should have done to get drafted higher, he should have sped his car. He should have gotten his car and tried to drive 90 to 120 miles down the road. Maybe he would have. He should have been racing his car, essentially. That would have made him drop.
No, nothing would have. They told him no matter what, they were drafting him at number 1. He was SOL as far as not going to the Bears. So nothing he could say he could do.
Yeah. Well,
he's screwed. I mean, either he can make the most of it and be the greatest quarterback Chicago's ever seen, or just be the next one in the quarterback graveyard that was Chicago's history.
I'm hoping for
maybe that was insensitive because Jim McMahon's gone, but whatever.
I'm hoping for the latter. I'm hoping that he is horrible so that I can continue to push my narrative that teams should start looking that the NFL should make owners sell after too many years of just mediocrity. I'm just a big fan of it. I feel like if you're bad, you have to. Something's got to get.
Too much media should be, but that would be fair almost.
Because I know in real business, in regular business, the board of directors of a team or of a business is like, hey, if you can't start doing something better, we're gonna find a new CEO. So,
but they do those things. They can get rid of management all the time, front office people all the time. But I mean, you can't really get rid of the person at the top of an NFL team because, for the most part, they have a board, but it's their team.
Yeah, but the board can definitely be like, listen, you're not allowed to deal with. Like I think in some cases, like with Jack Tepper,
board's basically what investors. I mean, fellow investors, they would put less in. So unless you sell what you got, you have power.
Because I think that's what happened with the Commanders. Like somebody was like, "Yo, y'all not gonna make no money because people start pulling out." Like with Jack Tepper, I feel as though the way he has conducted himself, I feel like the board was already talking about for the Carolina Panthers. I don't remember when the article came out. I don't even know if it was real, but it brought something to my attention. Like, the idea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the internet.
If a board can step in and be like, listen, you aren't to deal with anything. You aren't to step in or say anything to do with football operation. Like, once you hire a GM or a president, you back the fuck off. And I think, I feel like owners should back off. Like, when you got an owner that's as actively involved, like Jerry Jones, that's a problem. Right. That's why I like Jeff Love as the Eagles owner.
Right. I mean, to me, it shows that he don't trust anybody to do it.
Yeah.
Even though he hasn't had the success to feel to have the ego about it that he does. They say, like, nobody can do it as well as I can anyway, when it's like, you're not doing it that well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't say you're not doing it well. They've been around, but they've never been legitimate actual threats. They were always at best pretenders to the throne the past 20, 25 years since, 96, yes, wherever it was.
And that's why I say he doesn't do it well. He's not doing it well. Because if, you can make awesome picks, you can draft some of the greatest players, but if it doesn't translate to the football field, it doesn't translate to wins on a football field, it's all of that's for naught. Because what are you doing with what you're drafting? If you're drafting players, but they don't fit with the coaches there, and you don't bring in coaches that's going to work, then it's all for naught. You basically shit the bed.
Well, those aren't the Cowboys' ways. I mean, if you're a coach in Dallas, you're basically just the extra finger of Jerry.
And that's the problem.
Yes, that's one of the main problems, yeah. You're just an extension of Jerry Jones. If you're down on the field, he still calls the shots. So, I mean, no matter pretty much across the board, he controls everything. He doesn't what's the word? Relinquish, I guess, power. He doesn't defer power. He doesn't trust. I guess I don't know. That's just my theory. I don't know the dude. I can't imagine he talked to someone like me anyway.
Nah, you got too much melanin in your skin.
Something like that. Yeah. Well, no, exactly that. That.
He'd probably be like, "Hey, how much I gotta pay you to never walk over
Right.
here?
If he isn't paying me, I don't exist to him.
How
I know
much I
people
gotta
like
pay you
that.
to like never show up here ever again?"
Where? Dallas, Texas?
Yeah, if he was the,
$20
you know,
to
I
never
don't
show
like
up again in
going.
Dallas, Texas. $20.
Listen, I'm gonna try to get whatever I can. If you see, if somebody was to ever say, "How much can I pay you?" The one that's like
Would you
that
mind
is
if
the
we
biggest
paid you
mistake
in
you can ever
gum?
do. If you're rich, just anybody, if you ever come up to me and you say, "How much can I pay you?" I'm always starting my negotiation high. I'm starting the number high. So we can bid on. We won't come to an agreement, but I'm gonna start high.
It's like, how much
Always
you
start
really get to leave Dallas, Texas? Just buy me a ticket. I'll figure it out from there. Go.
How much I gotta pay you to go to Africa? Leave America and go to Africa. $7 billion. Let's see when we come to an agreement.
I'd like to go once.
No deal.
All
Because
right,
once
what
that
else
shit
we got?
drop below million.
How about some rankings? Nobody's watching by this point. Where do you rank Terrell Owens among wide receivers?
I rank Terrell Owens at 4.
Okay.
4.
Then for the hell of it, give me your 5.
All right, my 5. The legend, the GOAT, the real GOAT, the original GOAT, the only GOAT that I acknowledge, Jerry Rice.
Okay.
Number 2, Larry Fitzgerald. I throw Larry Fitzgerald out there because he is the only receiver who has just been close enough to even be close to Jerry Rice. His numbers. He's the only one close enough to Jerry Rice's numbers, and he's way off. He's not going to touch it. I mean, he retired, so he won't touch it. I feel like Randy Moss is Randy Moss, and Randy Moss did what Randy Moss does. I put him at 4. Terrell Owens. He probably would have a lot better numbers if he didn't completely go off the rails mentally. And Donovan McNabb didn't throw him a bunch of dirt balls.
He didn't go off the rails mentally.
And I think 5, I'm going to say Calvin Johnson. Yeah, that's my 5.
Okay. Well, that's pretty similar to the one I made. I
I
can't
don't have
argue it.
anybody else. I can't think of any other. Give me in a few years, I'll probably change a couple of those. I'll probably change. I'll probably throw Justin Jefferson.
Here's the one I made for the page. Yeah, there's a few. We'll get into one of those in a minute. My top 5 anyway, is Rice, naturally, Moss, Terrell Owens, Megatron, Fitzgerald.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. And realistically, him and Moss are interchangeable. It just depends on the mood.
T.O. and Randy.
Yeah, T.O. or Randy, it just depends on the mood. Because, I could definitely state with confidence that he's number 2 all time.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I wouldn't have any problem saying that. But I wouldn't have any problem saying that about Moss either. Megatron's more of a what could have been.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. Talent-wise, yeah.
Just imagine what he would have done.
Yeah. On a team that cared to win. All right. I had another one, since we were talking about that top 5. Is Mike Evans all-time top 10?
I'll put him there. I'll put him there.
Mm. Look at that! I almost blew his mind over there. Y'all saw that.
But I feel like Mike Evans is another one of those people that's like he could probably be higher if he was more healthy. If he was healthier throughout his career, he could probably be higher than because I feel like Calvin Johnson leaves the door open for a lot of people. Like, because Calvin Johnson is that guy that's going to be surpassed on the list, like 100%. He's going to be surpassed at 5 for
Calvin
me.
Johnson?
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be surpassed.
Calvin Johnson's 36th on the list.
Yeah, I mean, like, as top 5 receivers.
Oh,
like he's going to be surpassed because, like, him leaving when he did, I feel like it's a matter of time because you got guys like Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase. Essentially, like these guys are going to be coming in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys takes that spot. Maybe not Mike Evans because Mike Evans is probably on the back end of his career. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase will probably hit that mark before before they get to the same mark that Mike Evans. Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mike Evans is sitting at 24th all time right now.
Mm.
If he hit another 1,000, he'd be somewhere in the 12 to 20 range. So, I mean, he's a Hall of Fame lock. Now, he would be first ballot one more 1,000-yard season. Plus, it's a consecutive streak. I mean, that's just So, I mean, I gotta say, yeah. I'd say, yeah, now, even though the numbers may not look as grandiose as some of the other ones, like Isaac Bruce or Tim Brown, Reggie Wayne, James Lofton. These are from an earlier time. James Lofton's numbers would have been much different today.
Yes.
Just saying.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of these people on this list. I mean, Jason Witten is 20th. So, which that's just absurd.
Can you imagine Jerry Rice playing 18 games? Because the man played well into his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine if he had those extra games. Like, let's say, like, you take two or 3 years of his career away. Like when he was playing for the Broncos and the Seahawks. Like, take those away. Take those seasons away and take those games away and put him on the front end of his career, those extra games, where you say, let's say you put him in a 17-game season, 17, 18-game season. You put those numbers there, completely different. Like, Jerry Rice is completely like before. But like, nobody's catching up there. Like, his numbers are, like, unreachable.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, you put Calvin Johnson in it, where he played, give him extra games throughout his time in the league. Like, you add those games that you're looking at different numbers for a lot of those guys on this list, especially Randy Moss. You give Randy Moss an extra game a season to do what he did, I'm looking at a whole different.
Oh, God. Yeah, they might have hit 25 touchdowns that year. Shit. It's absurd. All right, I think I've covered everything, and we're at about 55 minutes down there, so we can wrap it up. I even got a short to squeeze out of it. They love them shorts. That's me eating stuff. All right. So, what else you got to promote?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking around and having fun with us here on the bench. Something I like to say. I haven't said it in a while. We can't all be starters. So, Boulevard, do that thing you do and let them know what they can do.
Oh, yeah. I will let them know what they can do. Did you tell them what they can do to click and like and sub and follow and all that?
Yeah, do that thing. Make the YouTube machine work with the likes button and the subscribe button and the comments.
Yeah, we could use some likes. It's kind of hurting the psyche of the intern. They feel like they're doing all that shit for nothing.
Yeah, don't do that.
Boost their spirit.
Like, especially when we're about to get some new ones in, probably get some young, fresh talent in here. Come on, man, don't make them do that college work for nothing.
Right. I mean, they're already doing it for nothing. They ain't getting paid. Stupid college kids.
Exactly.
Oh, stupid ass college kids. All right. What they can do is hit the bench.